The morning sun barely broke through the clouds when the chrome-trimmed Lone Star diner flickered its neon sign awake, humming quietly like a tired old friend who had seen too many sunrises and far too many stories. Inside, the smell of brewing coffee drifted across worn booths and checkerboard floors, while two young women moved with a rhythm so synchronized it almost felt choreographed. They were identical twins, Emma and Erin Hayes, quiet, polite, soft-spoken, and almost invisible in the unremarkable town of Red Creek. Their hair was tied back neatly, their uniforms crisp, their smiles gentle but brief. To locals, they were simply the Hayes twins, the kind-hearted waitresses who showed up before dawn, worked without complaint, and slipped away before evening shadows took the roads. No one knew much about their past, and the twins preferred it that way. They lived with minimal words, precise actions, and a humility so deep that no one suspected the truth sitting beneath their calm surfaces, truth carved by war, shaped by discipline, and sharpened by the unforgiving sea. For Emma and Erin were not just waitresses. They were elite Navy SEALs, recently discharged after completing one of the most intense covert operations in recent history. But now, they tried their best to melt into normal life, to shed the ghosts and memories that haunted their nights of this morning. However, peace would not be on the menu. The bell over the door jingled sharply, slicing through the calm as three men strutted in like they owned the air itself. They were loud, the type who wanted the world to know they were present, swaggering steps, mocking laughter, the kind of menace that had no real strength behind it, only insecurity. Their leader, Brick Morrison, was a thick-necked troublemaker who had been kicked out of high school, out of 3 jobs, and out of any respectable company. He was known for bullying anyone who looked weaker than him, and in his eyes, the twins were the perfect targets. Brick slammed himself into a booth, his friends Reggie and Colt sliding in beside him like loyal hyenas. When Emma approached with a polite smile, Brick looked her up and down as if she were merchandise. "Well, look at this," he smirked loudly, leaning back. "Didn't know this diner hired models." Reggie hooted. Colt whistled. Emma ignored the comments. "Good morning," she said gently. "What can I get for you?" Brick leaned closer, invading her space. "How about your number? Or maybe you can sit on my lap while we decide." His friends cackled. Emma did not flinch, though a flicker of irritation crossed her eyes for a microsecond, something Brick didn't notice, but Erin, watching from the counter, did. Erin's jaw tightened. She knew that look on her twin's face. She knew the restraint it required to stay calm, the discipline carved from years of training, the self-control of a warrior who could dismantle a full-grown man in seconds but chose peace because violence had already taken enough from them. Emma gently set down the order pad. "I'll give you a moment to decide." "Hey!" Brick snapped, grabbing her wrist. "I wasn't done talking." The entire diner froze. Coffee mugs paused mid-air. The cook peeked from the kitchen window. Erin took a slow breath, stepping forward. Emma's face didn't change, but her muscles tightened like coiled wire. "Let go," she said softly, too softly. Brick smirked wider. "Or what?" Erin's voice cut in like a blade. "Or you'll regret it." The bullies looked at her and burst into laughter. Brick let go of Emma's wrist long enough to wave dismissively. "Calm down, sweetheart. We're just having fun." Erin didn't answer. She only stepped closer, her eyes cold and assessing. Brick suddenly didn't like how calm she looked, how unnervingly still she was. But he pushed the feeling aside and leaned back, puffing out his chest. "Bring us 3 coffees, he ordered like a king. Emma walked away. Erin watched the men with a quiet, surgical calculation. The twins returned minutes later with coffee mugs, setting them down professionally. But Brick, wanting to show off, flicked Erin's mug intentionally, spilling scalding coffee across the table and onto her hand. Erin didn't flinch. Her expression didn't change. But something in the air did, like the diner itself inhaled sharply. "Oops," Brick mocked. "See what you made me do? Clumsy waitress." Emma froze mid-step, eyes darkening. The twins exchanged a look, a silent conversation honed through years of combat. Erin grabbed a towel and wiped her hand, the steam rising from her skin but no pain showing in her face. Brick wanted a reaction. Erin gave him none. So Brick escalated. He stood up abruptly, towering over the petite twins, smirking with an ugly satisfaction. "Maybe you two think you're special or something. But you're just weak little girls working in a dump." He shoved Erin's shoulder lightly, testing. Erin stayed still. Brick shoved harder. Emma stepped between them, her voice low. "Don't touch my sister." Brick chuckled. "Or what?" The entire diner seemed to hold its breath, forks hovering, conversations dying, air thick with tension. And then Brick made his biggest mistake, that he reached out and touched Emma's face. What happened next was not loud, not dramatic, not chaotic. It was precise. Efficient. Terrifying. Emma's hand shot up, grabbing Brick's wrist, twisting it in a fluid motion that made his bones crack loud enough for the entire diner to hear. Brick screamed, collapsing to one knee as Emma locked his arm behind his back. Before Reggie or Colt could react, Aaron was already moving, sliding between tables, sweeping Colt's feet out from under him with a single controlled kick, then flipping Reggie's chair backward in one swift motion. The men crashed to the floor like ragdolls, scrambling, disoriented, shocked, speechless. Emma tightened her grip until Brick whimpered, his bravado crumbling. "We asked you to stop," she said quietly. "You didn't." Aaron planted her foot on Colt's chest, pinning him while Reggie tried to crawl toward the door. She grabbed his collar and dragged him back effortlessly. "You picked the wrong diner," she said coldly. Brick, wheezing on the floor, managed to croak, "What are you?" Emma released him and stepped back. Aaron answered for both of them, United States Navy SEALs. Retired. But we don't forget our training. The diner erupted in gasps. Brick scrambled backward, fear swallowing his arrogance. Reggie and Colt practically tripped over each other trying to escape. They bolted through the door, fleeing like startled animals, leaving behind only spilled coffee, broken dignity, and the stunned silence of witnesses who had just realized the quiet twin waitresses were anything but ordinary. Emma looked around the diner. "Sorry about the mess," she said gently. Aaron exhaled. The cook whispered, "Navy SEALs, in my diner?" The twins simply nodded, and just like that, they returned to serving customers as if nothing had happened. But Red Creek had changed, rumors would spread, people would talk, and the bullies, they weren't done, they were humiliated, furious, and plotting revenge. A storm was brewing. A dangerous one, but the Hayes twins, they had survived far worse. The sun dipped behind the hills of Red Creek, painting the sky in shades of orange, gold, and eventual darkness as night crept across the quiet town. Lone Star Diner switched from its morning warmth to its evening solitude, the neon sign buzzing softly in the cool air. Inside, business slowed to a gentle crawl, an elderly couple finishing cherry pie, a trucker nursing his last cup of coffee, and the Hayes twins wiping down counters methodically. But Emma and Aaron could feel it, an unsettling air, a ripple in the atmosphere that experience had taught them never to ignore. In the military, silence wasn't always peace, sometimes it was a warning. Emma glanced at the windows. Aaron scanned the parking lot. They said nothing, but they both knew it, they were being watched. Hours earlier, Brick and his crew had vanished from town, humiliated beyond measure. Men like them didn't disappear quietly, they stewed, plotted, and waited for night when they believed strength came from shadows. And now, as the evening deepened, 3 trucks rolled slowly into the parking lot, engines rumbling like distant thunder. Their lights cut through the diner windows in sharp beams. Emma exchanged a calm look with Aaron. Aaron nodded once. Trouble had arrived. The truck's doors swung open, and men poured out, not just Brick, Reggie, and Colt, but several more. Bigger, meaner, and angrier. Some carried bats. Some carried chains. All carried the same stupid confidence. Brick, arm now wrapped in a makeshift bandage, swaggered forward with a face full of vengeance. "Come on out, waitresses," he yelled loud enough to echo off nearby buildings. "You wanted to play tough this morning, let's see what you do when you're not hiding behind customers." The trucker inside the diner stiffened. The elderly couple froze. Emma calmly turned their way. "Please go out the back door," she said gently. "Now." Aaron locked the front door. Brick smirked. "Hiding, huh?" Emma walked to the door. "Not hiding," she said. "Just clearing space." Aaron cracked her knuckles. "Big difference." Brick kicked the door violently. "Open up." Emma unlocked it. The door swung open, the twins stepped outside, not hurried and not fearful, not intimidated, just calm, steady, and quietly dangerous, like approaching storms. Brick's friends laughed. "Look, they actually came out." Brick sneered. "This time, you're outnumbered. No customers to protect you. No audience." Emma shrugged. "We don't need one." Brick raised his bat. "Get them." And the mob charged. What happened next was chaos, but controlled chaos. The kind only trained warriors could create. Aaron moved first, darting forward, snatching the closest thug's wrist, twisting it until his bat clattered to the concrete. She flipped him over her shoulder, sending him crashing into another man. Emma pivoted to the right, dodging a chain swing, grabbing the chain midair, yanking it so hard the man stumbled forward. She used his momentum to drive her knee into his stomach, folding him like paper. Brick watched in disbelief as his backup was dismantled like toys. 2 more lunged at Aaron from behind. She sensed them without looking, dropping low and sweeping their legs as she spun in a fluid arc, sending both men crashing to the ground. Emma caught a bat mid-swing, snapped it across her knee, and used the wooden halves to strike 2 attackers with absolute precision, one to the ribs, one to the jaw. Men hit the pavement one after another, groaning, crawling, gasping, or unconscious. It wasn't a fight. It was a lesson. Within minutes, the once confident mob was reduced to a scattered pile of defeated bodies. Only Brick remained standing, breath shaky, eyes wide with terror. You're monsters," he stammered. Aaron stepped forward. "No," she replied quietly. "We're disciplined."
Emma added, "You started something you couldn't finish." Brick backed away, trembling. "Please, please don't touch me." Emma and Aaron exchanged a look, then stepped aside. "Leave," Emma said. "And don't ever come back to this diner." Aaron added, "Or we won't be this gentle next time." Brick didn't argue. He ran, stumbling, slipping, scrambling into his truck and speeding away as if chased by demons. The remaining thugs followed as best as they could, limping into their vehicles and fleeing into the night. Silence returned to Red Creek. The twins stood beneath the diner's neon lights, breathing steadily as though they just finished a warm-up. The trucker peeked out the back door. Are we safe?" Emma smiled softly. "Yes, sir. It's handled." Aaron brushed dust from her hands. "Just another night." Word of the fight spread like wildfire. By morning, everyone knew. The story traveled from truck stops to cafes, from gas stations to grocery stores. Two quiet waitresses who single-handedly defeated an entire gang of bullies. But Emma and Aaron didn't seek recognition. They simply returned to work, refilling cups, taking orders, offering warm smiles. And yet, something changed. The diner became busier, people tipped more generously, and the twins, they finally felt a little more at home. The sun rose slowly over Red Creek the next morning, spilling golden light across the town as if trying to wash away the violence of the night before. The Lone Star Diner flickered awake again, neon sign buzzing lightly, chrome counters reflecting morning brightness. Inside, Emma and Aaron moved in their usual quiet rhythm, refilling creamers, setting chairs straight, wiping tables with the calm precision of people who found peace in routine. But beneath the calm, a storm brewed, a different one this time. They both felt it, a subtle tension humming in the air like the faint vibration before an earthquake. Last night's brawl had changed more than bruises and egos. It had shaken something loose. And someone, somewhere, was watching. The bell above the door jingled, but not in the casual, cheerful way the twins were used to. It was tentative, slow, almost hesitant. Sheriff Dalton stepped inside, broad-shouldered, weathered, respected in Red Creek for his fairness and firm sense of justice. His boots thudded against the tile floor as he approached the counter. Emma poured him coffee without asking. He nodded gratefully. "I heard what happened," he said quietly. The twins exchanged a glance. "We didn't want trouble," Aaron replied. "Trouble wanted you," Dalton said. "And now it's not just the local idiots you've upset. Brick and his boys are connected to someone bigger." Emma raised an eyebrow. "How big?" Dalton leaned in, lowering his voice. "Victor Kane." The name dropped like a stone in still water, sending ripples across the moment. Victor Kane, the leader of a notorious criminal crew known as the Wolf Syndicate. A man who ran illegal networks across 3 states. Dangerous. Unpredictable. Brutal. Even in their SEAL days, the Hayes twins had heard whispers of him. Aaron's expression hardened. "Brick works for him?" Dalton nodded. "Runs small jobs. Protection rackets. Harassment. Kane uses punks like Brick to intimidate towns. But last night, you humiliated them. Badly." Emma folded her arms. "We defended ourselves." "I know," Dalton said. "I'm on your side. But Kane? He won't care about context. He only cares that someone made him look weak." Aaron exhaled slowly. "So he's coming." Dalton nodded again. "He won't come quietly. He'll bring men." Emma leaned forward. "How long do we have?" Dalton's jaw clenched. "Word is, he's already on his way." The diner fell silent, and then, the power flickered once, twice, then died completely. Lights out, neon sign-off, diner plunged into eerie stillness. Emma and Aaron didn't panic. They stepped into position like soldiers slipping into armor. The sheriff reached for his radio, but static filled the line. "Damn it, they're jamming signals," he muttered. "This is serious." Emma moved behind the counter, opening a hidden drawer the owner never knew about. She pulled out 2 compact tactical knives wrapped in linen cloth. Aaron retrieved a small steel baton from beneath the cash register. Old habits never fully die. The sheriff blinked. "You two came prepared." Aaron replied coolly, "We always prepare." A slow rumble filled the distance. Engines, not one, not two, many. The windows glowed with the red tint of approaching headlights. Emma stepped to the side window, peeking through the blinds. Trucks, SUVs, dark tinted, armed men stepping out, thick jackets, tactical gloves, that familiar swagger of men who believed violence made them powerful. And then she saw him, Victor Kane, tall, cold, with eyes like polished steel. The kind of man who smiled only when someone begged, the kind of man whose presence poisoned the air. Kane stepped forward, hands clasped behind his back, assessing the diner like a general before battle. Brick limped beside him, arm in a sling, face bruised. "Those," he pointed shakily at the diner, "those 2 freaks did this to me." Kane raised one brow. "2 waitresses?" Brick stammered. "They're not normal." They fight like assassins. Kane tilted his head. Interesting. He signaled with 2 fingers. Half his men moved toward the front entrance, the other half circled behind. Inside, the sheriff locked the doors. I'll call for backup once the jammers go down. Erin shook her head. They won't let that happen. Emma's voice was calm but firm. Sheriff, get somewhere safe. Like hell, he snapped. I'm not leaving 2 civilians. We're not civilians, Erin said. Dalton blinked. Then what are you? Emma looked him in the eyes. U.S. Navy SEALs. Tier 1. Dalton swallowed hard. That explains it. Kane's men approached, weapons drawn. Emma turned to the sheriff. If they break in, stay low. Don't draw unless you have to. Dalton hesitated. What are you planning? Erin answered, a reminder. The first strike came fast. The back door shattered as 2 syndicate men kicked it open, only to be met with Erin, who swung her baton with devastating force. The first man collapsed instantly. The second lunged with a knife, but she sidestepped, grabbed his wrist, and slammed him into the steel fridge so hard he dropped unconscious. The front door cracked under impact, but Emma was already there, sliding low, sweeping one attacker's legs, then flipping him over the counter with explosive strength. Kane watched from outside, intrigued rather than angry. Inside, fighting erupted like storm winds. The twins moved with lethal grace, silent, fluid, deadly. Every motion was intentional. Every strike efficient. Every takedown precise. The sheriff fired a warning shot that sent syndicate men ducking behind vehicles, giving the twins crucial seconds. Erin smashed plates into one attacker's face, kicked another into a booth. Emma used the metal tray as a shield, deflecting a knife swipe before landing 3 rapid blows that toppled a man twice her size, but the syndicate kept coming, relentless, organized, trained. Kane finally stepped forward himself. He entered through the shattered doorway, unarmed, calm, hands clasped behind his back. Emma and Erin faced him, bruised but steady. Kane smirked. Impressive. I expected country girls. Instead, I found soldiers. Erin's voice was low. Leave now. Kane chuckled. Or what? You'll serve me breakfast with a side of violence? Emma stepped forward. Final warning. Kane clicked his tongue mockingly. Charming. But I didn't come to fight you. He leaned closer. I came to recruit you. The twins froze. Kane smiled darkly. You 2 could be unstoppable with me. Protected. Feared. Paid. Erin scoffed. We don't work for criminals. Pity, Kane said. Then this ends badly for you. He raised his hand. His remaining men surged forward. What happened next was chaos, explosive, brutal chaos, but even surrounded, even outnumbered, even exhausted, the Hayes twins were not ordinary fighters. They were the embodiment of discipline. Of training. Of survival. And as the battle erupted, Kane stepped back into the night, watching as if observing a test. The wolf had arrived, but the twins?